I'm going to hit the go live button. Yay. All
Yay.
right. So we are live with 5D all day and
Woo.
Spirit Calling. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. And if you want to introduce yourselves really quick, that will be awesome for anyone who's just tuning in for the first time.
Yeah, for sure.
Why don't you go ahead, Nicole?
Yeah, I'm Nicole Gibbs, and I am a part of the Spirit Calling community, and amazing community, and I'm excited to meet with these beautiful ladies often. I also have a website that I work on, Awakening Mass Meditations. We do regular mass meditations monthly, so all the more opportunities we can get together is definitely the goal and the mission here. So thank you. Excited to be here.
Yay, thank you. Okay. And Alana, if you want to introduce yourself, please.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Alana Heim, and my business is Prosperity Alignment. So it's all things prosperity. And I love the conversation we're going to have today. I just already know it's going to evolve into all the things and where we are on the planet. Everything's accelerated, everything's changing. And so really, I love diving into all the energies beneath it in your business, your life, your money, so that you're really honoring yourself and flowing with your natural prosperity that it's infinite, and usually we push against it and try and be someone we're not. So I like to dive into all those parts of prosperity.
I love it. I love talking to both of you. You guys are like my two favorite people. I love it. And I mean, there's tons of great, wonderful people on Spirit Calling, but this is just like, a really cool, awesome bunch that if you are not part of Spirit Calling, I would highly encourage you jump in and meet some amazing people where you can literally strip away that shield of, vulnerability and discomfort, because that is where the growth starts, when you can talk amongst your tribe, your people. So I'm really honored to be able to do that with you guys today in particular, but on Spirit Calling. So thank you. And I'm Danielle Kane. I actually officially have a business name now. I'm the Conscious Healing, Conscious Healing Hypnosis, where I go into the quantum realms of removing any energetic trauma or any stuck energy entities, as well as then exploring a past life and or quantum realm of anything. You can explore anything to then connect with your higher self for further healing, and really ultimately getting that full spark of light that is ours. We've always had it, but through this process of evolution and just being a human in this world, we have to reclaim that light. So I'm honored to be part of that process, to see someone shine very brightly and be the highest potential that they want to be on this planet. Just like you said, prosperity alignment, that's really what it is. And it's great that all these modalities help us get to that place of further understanding or understanding, I think you say. And it's so true, because it's not outside of ourselves, but within ourselves. So I'm really really embracing all that there is right now. This has been a process to get to where I am with this technique. So I feel like it's kind of come full circle.
Do you want to mention the technique?
The technique? Yes. So the technique is kind of a combination of the two. I've done quantum healing hypnosis technique. That's a specific technique where you go through a specific, it's a very personal journey. This is not light level alpha brainwaves. We're going into theta, and everyone's theta experience is a little bit different. And one reason why now this new technique that I'm doing, we remove some of the, I'm going to call them now programs, because I personally, how I'm experiencing it and getting my things removed is I'm finding that before I came here, I created programs to remove to then reach to my higher level consciousness. So in this process, there's a lot of programs that are there that are attached with maybe darker energy, whatever you may call it, to not allow you to explore these levels of deeper understanding of who you are and who your past lives were. So, sorry. So when we go through this process, we connect to any energy that is causing any pain, causing any discomfort, removing that energy to then understand and bring it back to source light, and then to literally calibrate and reopen all of your chakras, so that you are literally connected to source light as well as to Mother Earth Gaia. And then from there, we go into this past life experience, wherever you may go. You could go anywhere. And the purpose of that really is to send a message to you. So you may be in this current lifetime right now. So let's say if, Nicole had something going on and she just happened to have a very simple life as, a cave woman. I'm just going to use that as an example. And she's like, oh, my life was just so simple. And I was just living it out with my brother. And then it turns out that she needed to experience that lifetime because this life seems so heavy, so much involved. It's just constant. And she just needed to be reminded that life can be so simple as just experiencing, basic survival, of course, but that it's all about love. It's all about community in that past life. So I'm just using that as an example. Actually, I had someone who just had that experience. So it's funny. That's just what came up to be an explanation. And then the higher self questions. Someone comes in with like, why did this happen in my life? Or what am I supposed to do here to learn? Very specific questions that we ask the higher self. And I will say that is my favorite. That's my specialty. I'm very good at asking questions. I'm very good at connecting with the higher self, even when the conscious mind wants to get involved and answer for it. I always know when it's trying to do that, and I can just scoot it over to the side and we can all be there together to learn and grow. So that is it. I know that was a lot, but
it's beautiful. It's awesome.
Thank you. And what's really amazing is something like what you do, as well as like going into then after like a session as big as that, exploring the human design and gene keys, like helps the journey further, because then you create that roadmap along with all that material that was given to you from yourself, because there's a recording. So those are a really good marriage. So I'd highly recommend someone who's exploring these areas. If you get a session, then connect with someone like Alana to do a human design map, because then you'll understand what your higher self is saying. So that I would love to make a connection. Actually, that just came down as a download, like connect with her, because that could really help your clients. Nicole is like the master at getting anyone who has difficulty meditating into that theta space. And so I didn't want to just take away from you, but it isn't by accident that all of us are here on this call together. Yes. Did you want to say something, Nicole?
I just resonate with everything being said, and I just really do feel the connection between us and all really trying to come here. We all really are bringing the same ideas, but in different ways. And really, if one thing resonates with you and the other may not, it's exactly what you need, and go with that. Like whatever's calling to you, if whatever that is it's all different parts of the same whole. And so I just really wanted to just say whatever it is that works for you, that's awesome and great, and go with that, because it's so exciting to get into knowing yourself. That's when all the magic gets to happen and you start really living and loving life. And that's just the most exciting thing about, and that's why we came here, is to really dig deep and get to know ourselves. So I thank you all you ladies, for the work you're doing, what you're bringing here, so others can find sparks in their soul as well. And it's just so beautiful what we're bringing here. So I thank you, ladies.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. So
well
true.
said.
And the piece I would add is it's not linear. There's no right way. There's no order. Absolutely. It's like understanding. The reason I love that is when you say understanding, it's like you're standing under, and we're not, we're in it. And so when we're in it, for you, for me, for every single one of us, it's different. And that means if we feel called to go down this path and learn to meditate first, and then that suddenly opens our consciousness to be able to even receive the gifts of quantum healing or human design, or, all the different modalities, all the things that are out there. You have to trust what is right for you in the moment.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. So amazing. So I have to share this because you said linear and linear time. And I know that's a little off the beaten path of what we're talking about, but I actually did do an entity, we call it an entity release, but it's really like an energy blockage removal or anything that doesn't serve you, especially after I'm doing more sessions. And I just came back from like an awesome retreat that worked on like myself the whole time. So that was fun. But in my session, my higher self, I know that energy when it comes through and what it feels like. And so when we got to some questions for the higher self, one of the practitioner actually asked my higher self, are we ascending or what is happening right now? And my higher self said that there is no linear time. And for example, I actually explored a past life in a past life meditation. And it referred to that moment when I was recognizing a past life in Lemuria. I actually saw an overlay. So basically I saw a picture of my life, a very specific picture of me and my family. And on top of it was an overlay of the picture of me and my family in Lemuria. And it would like pull it back and then pulled it forward. And it was like, it's all happening right now. Right. And you're becoming consciously aware of that all time is all at one moment. Yeah. But in your ability to understand that it does seem like it's a past time frame or it happened before. So it was really eye-opening to make that connection, to truly understand, because it's difficult. Like when people say like there is no linear time, right?
Right. And right now it's like all collapsing where we can really feel it's the simultaneous everything happening at once. But I have to say, when I first read Dolores Cannon's books, and she's the one that you've learned QHHT from, right? Like her system.
Yes.
But every time I was like, I could feel and I knew this isn't a past life. Like this is happening in the moment. Like they're accessing consciousness in the moment that it's happening. And we tend to say, oh, well, it happened, but in the moment as they're telling it, it's live, it's real, it's so profound, where it's like more and more I could just tell, oh my gosh, this is happening. And then when I've danced and started exploring in my own past lives and can access them, it's like the parts of myself were in it. Like we are in it. And I could just feel that until we connect with them, right? Sometimes they don't move through it. It's like, it's like the Harry Potter part of the movie when he realized the apparition that came across the lake was actually himself giving it to him to like help him from the whatever. I can't even remember all the what they're called, those like demon kind of soul suckers. Yes. But it's like that. We think that it's linear and really it's all happening at the same time. And it's usually us being our own savior. Like we come in to be exactly what is needed in that moment for the healing to take place. Like
totally. Yeah, it's like we contract. What I'm even finding in that, like, not that it's obvious, but like we contract to have these programs, to have these things happen in our lives. Like you said, like the Harry Potter, like we think it's evil, dark and scary, but we agreed to that because in this time, in this moment of time, or wherever we approach this crossroads, you want to go left or your right, you're going to be presented with that discovery. And what you do with it, you can choose, right? So there still is that free will to explore and choose a direction, but you ultimately will be presented with something. It's so fascinating.
I think it's very spot on with the topic of actually, because you need to have, the love and intention to go into that and literally face it and not have the fear to know what might come up, because, that's why we all are triggered and have traumas, and we don't face it because it is scary and it is fearful. But the love, the light is how you get through that and grow. Like that's literally something we chose. Like you said, we chose for these things to happen so that we could have a better understanding of what we're capable of. Like, holy crap, we don't even have any idea if we don't even get in there and explore our potential of how we can get through things. You can only get through things by literally feeling and understanding why it's happening on a multi-level dimensional. Other lives will start coming in, other like sensations and feelings, and it just, the magic begins to happen again. So I think the love and versus fear is like very huge, and understanding. We're going to say that it's going to be a thing. Linear can be a fear-based thing, I think, because we just think that we're always having to go and we have to do this and we got to get this done and I can't do this if I'm not doing it, and it's just like so much, and just forget that. That is such an illusion. When we can really understand that we are going this way, that we have like our lives are like this, and we're all here as one, like a round oneness hologram. It's really so much love can come out of that, because you could really feel and see the oneness of it all. Like, why? Like, the answer is why, because it's all one. It all is connected. It's just,
Mhm.
it is. I just love it so much. So I think the fear versus love is really big on just that perspective alone, once we
Yeah.
can see that.
How about you, Alana? What do you think about the difference between like living in love and then living in fear, your lifetime, or how you've gone through that?
So I see all as one, and I see not just for me, but the collective, right?
Mhm.
So if I almost zoom out to that first, this planet has been locked in the darkness, the lowest vibrations there are. Fear is absolute. Like, it is in everything. And if you want to talk about like it's in our linear way of processing, because it's in our systems,
Mhm.
it's in our finance, it's in our education, it's in our health, it's in our government, it's in everything.
Right.
So when we talk about like, oh my gosh, like, why am I afraid? Well, you're afraid because that's everything around us. And we're all one, we're all connected to that.
Mhm.
And there are energies at play where we're still in the polarity dancing on the planet, where you don't even know what love is until you've been in these lower vibrations and you seek to kind of move away or get out of it. And so we're all gradually moving consciousness up, right? Humanity is making the exit, but there are certain powers at play that are constantly trying to suck you back into not just fear, but lack and scarcity and poverty, right? And rage or apathy, or, like all these levels of consciousness that are really, really low vibrational, because when you give your power away, someone can take that power from you and control you.
Absolutely.
And that's really where we've been. And the biggest piece that I love right now, why we're having this conversation, every September through November, beginning of November, and I'll give dates, the sun transits fear gates that we have in the human design chart. So there's different fears, but specifically the splenic center in human design is 7 energies, and they are all fear-based because they're part of our survival instinct, right? It's part of like who we are as humans, where we have these fears, but again, they're part of this illusion, and that's what we're finally breaking free of. Like, we don't have to be stuck in these 3D ways and all these systems that are trying to control us. So September 26th, the sun moved into the first energy, and this is the fear of imperfection. And we basically go through 7 energies in a row. So through November 5th, this is what I call fear season, or we can spin it and reframe it as courage season.
It's interesting too that Halloween follows, like, obviously that's about spooking and scaring everybody.
Yes. And that one tends to kind of fall on the cusp of fear of death and fear of the past. So talk about like how some cultures are not afraid, and then they celebrate Day of the Dead and they celebrate death, and right. But again, it's all, how do you frame it? What are you looking at? And so this season of, do we choose to be stuck in these low vibrations, or can we rise into these higher frequencies? Right. And so if we're afraid of being imperfect, really what we're wanting to step into is the ability to realign, to improve. Because what we're constantly seeing is what isn't working. And when we're like, this isn't working, then sometimes we have that judgment around, this is how it has to be, and you're doing it wrong and you're doing it imperfect. And so it's like, it starts tugging into, all the dynamics that society taught us, our parents taught us. Who are we? And are we, like, we all are creative, but when there's a process, and this is a logical energy, there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. And the people who are very stuck in the way it has to be done, they miss the ways to realign and improve what's already been broken, right? It's like our systems that just everyone keeps putting band-aids on. No, these systems can't be improved. They have to be taken down. And this is my sentiment. This is what we're shifting into to really get into 5D. You can't take what has been before and bring it into the new because of the fear that we're all stuck in.
Yes.
Right. So if we want to be spiritually evolving and we just take what we've always done, but there's still all the illusions of fear and lack and scarcity and poverty and all the stuff, we're not going to fix it. We're not really going to evolve. So basically we move from fear of imperfection, we go into inadequacy, we go into the fear of the fear of the future and kind of the unknown, which is so like dead on what Nicole already hit on too, with like, when we're on this linear path, we think we have to know what's coming and be prepared. And a lot of the times we're afraid of that. Then we go into the fear of failing. And then really it's going into fear of failing others. Then we're thinking that, like, what if we have no purpose? We're afraid of death, kind of those pieces. And then the last one is fear of the past. And so when we're stuck in the fear, and because time is accelerated and we're manifesting everything we want in the now, if you're afraid of what you don't want, you're going to manifest what you don't want. If you're afraid you're imperfect, you're going to be imperfect, right? But when you start to realize there is no perfect, if we were all perfect, planet Earth would be done. We would have already evolved. We all would have already gone to our next place.
Sure.
Like the whole intention is for me to do my work, but for you to do yours, and all of us to help each other, lift each other and get to these places. So if there's no perfection, really, we can begin to see what is and accept that and accept these parts of ourselves. So I know that when I have faced more and more dark entities, some of these, kind of out of the box, like things that's going on the planet, the only thing I could do to protect myself and hold my own energy and not be entangled. And this even happened with a past life of myself. Like, she was powerful and I knew I needed to integrate her, but she was like, no, you need to be integrated. And it was like, oh, okay. And love was the only shield. Right? Love was the only thing that could just, and not just to be the energy of love, but to actually share that love with them and tell them, I love you. And they don't know love. Right. And so they're going to wall it off. And if you think of even humans, those who hurt the most. And when we love them, they don't always know how to receive it. So it's a dance that we are moving to the space. Many of us are shedding things very quickly so we can move to this higher vibration. Others who still want to stay stuck in it, they're going to have a harder time, and they're going to need us to love them along the way. And it's still their choice whether they want to come with us into this vibration of love or not. But if we really want to lean into it and be that innocence and that essence, we just have to be love. We just have to share the love, even if they try and fling back what they know, which is that hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Thanks. You always come with the best stuff, for real.
Yeah. And now all
Thank
these
you.
like downloads are coming into my mind, and I'm just like, whoa, yeah. I just feel like it's like everything that we already know, but it like solidifies it with the like it's been there all along, you know what I mean? And so it just made me reminds me that we all have to remember that we are masters of alchemical unification. And what that means is we literally can transmute this energy, this polarity that is always looks inverted and fear-based. And we literally have the ability and the energy to shift that, because energy doesn't disappear. It can only transmute or transition into something else. It doesn't go away. So we have that ability. We came here with that power to shift that. We have to feel through it though, and understand what is going on to shift that. We can't just block it off, put the Band-Aid on it, like you were saying, and move through. You really have to, why does this keep coming up? Why does this keep pushing at me and pulling at me? And feel through it. And then you have the power to use your alchemical unification powers and transmute into that love shield, that bubble, and just keep carrying on in your life. And you will see how much of a role model you can be just by being yourself, living in that frequency of love. Like, people will just, you're going to attract people and be like, dang, what are you on? You're high on life. Like, you're just like living and loving. And that is the most magnetic feeling ever, because that's source, that's home, that's where we come from. And we all want to get back to that and remember that. And so it's just the perfect idea to come back to its home. Like, remember that this space of love is where we came from and where we're getting back to. And all these things that are happening in our lives are designed and created for ourselves to go through, so we can have that even more so, because you need to have that here in the physical body, the duality of you need to know lower to know higher and vice versa. And so that is the power we have within. It's absolutely amazing that we have the power to shift and feel and change this vibration within. There are many things that we have here on the planet that can also aid us in that. It's not something we have to do alone either. Like, we have the ability to, like, for instance, I create music frequencies, and just listening to, frequencies that are already set to that frequency that we're trying to get up to, and just kind of bathing in it and letting whatever comes through, feel it. It's okay to let out emotions, because that's where you're shifting and raising the energy and raising up to what you can and came here to be. And it's so easy to really get stuck in those patterns and programs that so many structures and industries and governments are designed to keep us there. But even knowing that alone gives us power to know that we can and have the ability to not play their game, and instead make it back home with the power within that we have.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
I have to speak on this. You're a great segue, by the way. So one of the reasons why, when I first started going into this, what are we actually talking about here? Because if you're someone who's like, I don't know what these people are saying, I was you. And then one day I was like, I can't keep living this life that I'm living. So that's what we're talking about. I was living very much in fear. Like, everything was around fear. If I lost a member at the gym, I was like, what are we going to do? And I'm not providing, and I had to be very careful, because those words cast spells. Like, you come and you bring it back. Like, literally the law of attraction of what you say to yourself comes back twofold. And so, however, the universe knew that I was looking for answers. And Dolores Cannon said it perfectly, bringing her back again. She said, you are in a play. You are the writer. You are the lead actor. You have all these other cast members that you've picked for your play. And if you don't like it, you can change it at any time. And there's something about that where you're just like, it's just a play. And if I really do want to change it, I can change it. And for me, I had given away all that ability and power to change my play until I started feeling, and still I started getting into that place that we were talking about, where I was working with somebody. So for me, I would suggest, if this is a new space, working in finding something that might resonate with you. For me, as soon as I started hearing this stuff about like the 3 waves of volunteers in the New Earth, I was like, that's for me. I feel like I know what that means. I don't know why, but I know what it means. And so when I started further diving into it and got Dolores's book, she talks about these 3 waves of volunteers that come, that got the call as a soul to come down to earth right now during this time of ascension. And the New Earth is what, and Alana, if you want to talk more about New Earth, I feel like you said stuff about that as well. It's also going through an ascension process right now. And my higher self yesterday talked about all of this stuff. And one of the reasons why it's happening now, if we're going to pick linear time, just to make it simple, it's that if we had known all of our consciousness, all of the lifetimes, all at this time right now, before the ascension process, we would jump ship if we didn't like what we had. Be like, oh, we could just start on over. And that's what was happening. We could just, end the life and then come back again, and end the life and come back again. And that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was to go through the feelings, go through the emotions, because we strip our memory away. That's the choice that we made to come here, is to completely come here forgetting any rule of this planet, anything of like, oh, we put all these programs in there. We don't know why we feel like, why is this happening to me? And what's going on over here? And so as we go through this inner standing and self-discovery, you start to realize, oh my gosh, that's been there that whole time. And then I'm okay with it now. I'm okay facing that program that I no longer services me. And I'm going to tell you one that was for me personally was about manipulation. and that I had this program of males in particular, the masculine energy manipulating me. And I was very hesitant to get a session from a male practitioner. I don't know why. I didn't know why I felt that way. I just felt like I'm going to get one from a female first. And in my session, it came out. I wasn't going to tell this gentleman that I didn't want a session, but it came out. She's like, she had this program that you were going to manipulate her. And she realizes now that that is not that's a false illusion. And we're going to remove that program. Behind that was an entity holding on to that fear. And I'm not going to go into further details, but it was so refreshing to go into this level of space, this time that we expand, this theta space, to explore even what that was, to let that go, to fill it with a beautiful color, vibrant blue. I picked this vibrant blue energy to replace that dark orangish energy that I was feeling. And I was also able to reclaim more of that feminine side, because I felt I took on more masculine energy to protect myself from whatever this program was that was in there. And I'm sure there's tons of us that have had this program going on. And I know these are like really specific things that I'm giving, but this is my way of relating, because it took me this long. I've been on this journey for since 2018. I mean, it took me 5 years to even get to a place where I realized I was holding on to that. I would never have thought I felt manipulated in that way. So that was just an example. So now, like I said, even though other areas of trust have come in, like my whole heart chakra opened up a year ago, it's like, and then you move on to another layer of something that's shut off. So that's part of the living in love, right? You get to further on the other areas that we are like, okay, now it's time to go look over there. And now we're going to go over there. And then we get closer to that one consciousness, right? That you were talking about, where we all can raise out of this fear vibration.
Yeah. And I want to add that the beautiful aspect right now with the sun, it's that powerful ball of energy, of light, of fire. It's like it burns off. So it's like it also comes in us to radiate and emanate who we are, our power. And so if we're stuck in fear, then that's what we're putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have the awareness, like, wow, I know. So what this means is the sun is giving you the power to burn away the fear. So when you're feeling this fear, it's not you.
Yes.
It's not your energy. It's what every single human on the planet is getting. And it is going to penetrate to you at this like deep soul level of where is this fear showing up in your life? Where are you wearing glasses that just show fear? And everything you see is fear-based. And then you're sucked into that vortex. But when you get to step back and go, wait a minute. So what she's telling me is, this is just the illusion. The sun is like putting me in this illusion in my own play to say, wait, I get to change the role. I get to change that. If I used to feel inadequate, I can actually recognize I have all the wisdom. I am sourced and I am resourced and resourceful. And what I need when I need it shows up. You start to not feel like, oh, I don't know enough. I don't have enough. Because you know you're infinitely tapped in to all that is. So you can draw it in, right? So now you start to shift. Wow, that fear, I don't even think that was mine. I think I learned that from my mom. I think that was actually my client I was just with. Ooh, I went to a meeting or I went to the grocery store and man, could I feel it. And now you're starting to find that piece of separation within all is one. And that's helping you to know you and to be more of the observer and not get sucked into it and think you have no power and you have no choice and there's nothing you can do about it. And it opens you to have more compassion. It already ignites your heart to open and go, wow, I know where that person is because I was there too. And I feel that fear because I used to be there. And now suddenly we get to help others to see what they couldn't see. Mm-hmm. So I have this amazing story that it's so fresh. We're all afraid of death, and not just death of ourselves, but of each other, our loved ones. And I'm in a business networking group, and one of our prominent founding members passed away at the beginning of this month. 37, very young, like devastating. And I cried and cried. And I was like, why is this really hitting me so deeply? And it's just that knowing that this is part of the shedding, right? I can't say that he was of this highest consciousness that we're all striving for, but did he live life in the 3D? Yes, very well. And my sense in the end was, I know when people pass kind of suddenly and they're just gone, they've fulfilled their purpose. And for whatever reason, we can't understand and know why, and we want to, and we try and dissect it and say, this isn't fair, and he should have lived longer, and all these things. He lived the way he was meant to. And once he passed, it was like, I just knew he fulfilled his purpose. And there's that sense of he can do so much more on the other side. So the beautiful thing is, again, business networking. We are in the weeds with people who don't understand these levels of consciousness, that things are shifting. They're doing the same thing they've always done, but they're starting to notice it's feeling harder, or it's feeling heavy, or it's feeling tense, right? The most beautiful way to help awaken people was with this man passing. And his last name is Nichols. So he's been coming through, and he is now like, we had an event, there was a reader. And so for some of the people, they don't believe in spirit. They don't believe that there can be guardian angels and messages coming in. He's the guardian angel now. And he's guiding them and helping them to see what they have been stuck behind the veil, right? And pulling them to see there's so much more, and being their guardian angel. And so I even found a nickel in my wash machine the other day, and I told my friend, and she was like, yeah, that's him.
Wow.
And so I've known, like, he's starting to do that. So I have a client who also knew him. He's a financial advisor. He does not understand spirit, right? But I knew I have to share the story. And I said, look, I just want you to know he is on the other side, and he is our guide, and he will be reaching out. I know. And if you find Nichols, it's him. And it kind of took a minute. And then sure enough, he goes, you know what? I already got Nichols. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah, when I was out of town, I went to a Starbucks, and I thought, well, that's weird. Like, the guy gave me a handful of change in nickels, didn't give me a quarter. And I was like, oh, and he goes, whoa. And I was like, yeah, right. Like, there's no words. There's like, and the sentiment is, whatever it is that we need to see or hear or feel or touch, like, it is happening. The veil is lifting. And so for those who are stuck in whatever society has told us, that spirit isn't real and there aren't ghosts and you can't talk to angels or aliens or who knows, right? Everything is changing. And they have taught you to be afraid. They've been telling you to be afraid of spirit, of aliens, of other beings. And really, we are here to be in love, to be knowing that we're supported, that these things are not scary. They're actually beautiful. They are of the highest love light coming through to guide you. And to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is part of what's happening, whether people are looking for it or not. Spirit is coming through. People are passing. They're going to cross over so they can help the awakening move forward.
Yeah. And you know what? You just reminded me. I don't know. Something just came over, like the connection is the strongest right when they cross over. So that feeling, and they're in that space, their emotional space is available to receive and like kind of take away the logical mind about thinking about it all. And they can actually really tap into that energy.
And it also brought up for me too, again, of course, sorry, bring up Dolores Cannon again, but she just always brings, like, when people have these regressions and they want to see why they lived the life that they did, because they just can't quite get that, like, the clarity. It always comes from the most neutral observer space. Like, I did this so that other people could see that it's just like something that's always so whole. It's neutral. It's not these little nitpicky things that we're so focused on in our linear time here. It's really so expansive. It's so neutral. We're literally coming here for something so expansive that it helps you get out of your own way to know that we can zoom way out of all this, And something that also came to me when you were speaking is Joe Dispenza often brings up too, know yourself, your old self so well that you never want to go back. You have to know all those little things about yourself, and you don't know yourself unless you feel it and know what your triggers are and know what it is, so that your will is greater than the program. Is your will greater than the program? Do you want this stronger than the program? Then it's yours. You can have it. You're recreating those brain pathways to match what you want for that neutral point of view that you came here for in the first place. It's just so much more than the fear-based. So again, love, love, love.
Yes. Yeah. And I want to welcome Pamela Downs.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry I was late. I was on a call and it ran long. So I'm so happy.
Okay. We're so glad that you're here. We just got into it. We were just throwing
awesome.
all sorts of things.
I like what I'm hearing so far.
Yeah.
Well, I love that Pamela's here because I have to tap out. So with that, I'm like, I'm glad you were here.
Perfect
Thank
timing.
you, ladies. And thank you to everyone. You were all amazing. I love you.
Yeah, we love you too. And thank you for sharing all the stuff about the sun, the fear gates and the sun transits. I think that's really powerful for some people that kind of want to know what to expect if fear's creeping in certain ways. I wrote some notes down, so that was great.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Everyone.
Bye.
So how are you doing down there, lady?
Hey, good. Was just talking to a photographer that's going to shoot the new images for the Spirit Calling redo. It's really
awesome.
exciting.
I can't wait.
I know.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, but the conversation you're having is really exciting too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's been really good. I've shared some things. I actually just had a session yesterday, since I've been doing a lot of swap sessions and practices with the new technique. And my higher self came in really strong, and it was explaining a lot about how we're all like coming online to our other past lives, but that we weren't really capable doing that beforehand because number one, we couldn't handle it and we'd probably jump ship anyway. So it was really fun to kind of tap into that experience. And Nicole was sharing how her frequencies basically can bring you to that other space of like theta, you were saying, like just connecting and going inside inner, what are we saying? Understanding
Yeah.
Common theme today.
Yeah.
And of course I'm giving like a generalization, but really that's kind of what we've been talking about.
Yeah, it's very relevant to the conversations that are happening in the community too, because everyone is, the fear and being able to, what you were just talking about right now before when I just came on, was the fear and be able to witness your old self and what you want for your new self. And to understand that the fear is there and to understand that you choose not to go in that direction. And that's a frequency. And if you don't understand that, if you can't see it, then you can't do it. And so it's getting to that place of understanding, right? That we're trying, that's what we're trying to get the members to do. And Nicole, your sound healings are really vital in regards to that and the work that every individual can do for themselves, because you have to have a realization, you have to have the experience, right?
I used her root chakra sound healing for my pre-chat for one of my sessions.
Cool.
So it was playing in the background subconsciously.
I'm telling you, that drum
to do that, to allow vulnerability, allow some deep stuff to come out, because when that stuff once we drop the armor, that's when I know we'll have a good session. If you can tell me consciously some things that are really, really hard to share, because it is, man, everyone's had a hard life. Everyone has some piece of them that is so raw. But once we can tap into that emotion, beautiful things happen on the other side.
It's okay. Like it's not fearful. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Like to be able to be your higher, greater self. Like you don't have to be feeling this and going through this. And this
Yeah.
is the opportunity and chance you get to be that amazing god or goddesses that we are, truly. And something else that keeps coming through too, I feel like it's very fresh on a lot of people's mindset, is having opportunities presented to them to make big changes in their lives, like
Yes.
whatever that may look like. Physically rooting up from where they may have lived their whole life, or some job that they've been working in for many, many years that they've mastered, these things that they hold so precious and dearly to the program. Though it's something that we thought we needed to achieve, but now we're having these opportunities presented to ourselves that we deserve and are attracting because we set ourselves up to deserve these beautiful things. And it's not fearful or scary. It's literally so amazing to be able to expand and be another version of yourself that you don't even know who that is yet. Like, that's
Yes.
really exciting to know
It
that
is.
you can be so much greater, and we don't need to go through these same routine, stressful things and things that are kind of poking at you, or like signs or messages. Like, what is that? Really start. What are you thinking about when these things are coming through? Go with that. Keep thinking about that, and it will attract what you deserve. Like, your will is greater than the program. Remember that. And you can literally be this higher self being that we're talking about, living in love and returning home without any of these karmic entanglements that are keeping us refreshing our memories and things like that. It's just in that oneness, wholeness state when we can just feel and be. It's okay to have traumas and speak of them, because we all have them. Nobody is any more so or less than the other. I'd like to envision us standing in the circle. No one's higher or above anybody. We're all here together on the same plane. And it's exciting, I think.
It is exciting. It is exciting.
You just reminded me, it's like this disassociation of that self, that version of you really is not, that was a past. That was something that it's okay to have had that experience. But like I said, I posted that thing from Carrie Kay, and it's like, you have yet to discover who you really are. So silence yourself, go inside, inner stand, and then you find out that true self that you're ready for. Now you're ready for it. It's the one you've been waiting for.
Right.
I've heard that in like so many songs. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like right there in front of you, but you just can't grasp it until you go across the bridge or you walk through the unknown,
That's the part. It's the unknown.
Yeah.
Unknown is where the magic is. That unknown is where everything evolves and opens up, and creation begins in that unknown. You have to step into it.
Yeah.
You can sit there and you can step up to that line over and 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 over again, and you, like you said, you can look back in reflection and say, man, I did that. Frick yeah, I did that. And it empowers you each time. You still get to walk up to that line. No time is easier than the one before it, but you are a witness. You are a witness to it. Your soul, your consciousness, your understanding has expanded. And like I keep saying lately, like I get to do this. I know I always have said that, but it's like even greater. Like your understanding is just continually compacting and getting richer and thicker and stronger. And then you're like, I'm a freaking amazing person. Like you look at yourself as a human and how you're physically taking on this role to move through this. And you're like, I get to do this for all of me that did it all of those other times.
Yes.
Killed for it and tortured for it and this and that for it. Or like I had a shamanic session last weekend and I got to see a past life and where I got to change the decision that I made. And that was so, oh my God, it was emotional. I listened to it on the ride back from New Jersey yesterday. And I'm like, man, how many times have I done this work? How many times have I been in a physical form, learning love, learning fear, learning love, moving through fear, learning love, expanding. And that's the part I think that where we're trying to, especially in the community, to create understanding around so that we understand the vastness of it,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
And
cool.
Alana was telling us how we're shifting. The one consciousness is also shifting out of that fear base. I mean, it's in everything. She was saying the finances, she's saying it's in the education, the government, everything.
It's everything.
It's so true. And how these things are the veil's lifted and people are shifting.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see it even with just conversations. Like I can't express so much from my soul how important your story and sharing where you've gone will help somebody else who's on that point, that breaking point. This is why we have the portal. This is why spirit calling is so important, because someone is right there and they needed to hear it right then and there. And that is where, boom, it's like that consciousness opens up a little bit more. And
my body's filling up with vibrations, because it's true. Like there's a member that I've been talking to offline. I talk to a lot of people offline, and she's having a hard time just voicing herself in public. And we talked about what that is. And I had to tell her my story. Like I had to go out on stage for 10 years. And in the beginning, I used alcohol to get myself to be freer and easier, to not tense up and to remember lyrics. And I said, I'm doing that now, not the alcohol, but like having to get out on the stage to talk. And like, it's continual. It never ends. So me being able to say my story and that experience was then 10 years ago and is here now is giving her strength, understanding,
absolutely,
like just kind of power, I guess, around it, a little bit of a different sort of power to it for herself around it. And that's what we want to do. We want to help everyone. I just want to help everyone.
Absolutely. I feel like this is the one thing that I'm still kind of coping with too, is that there's such still a deep-seated belief system, that someone's just not quite ready to completely explore who they are. Somewhere along the way, we're told that's bad. If you start to like learn more about yourself, you have to trust outside things to show you the way. And that is the biggest one. There's something that because of maybe they were burned in a past life for it, or sacrificed, or whatever, there is this deep-seated program or remembrance of actually exploring this beautiful part of why we're here. Like it's just getting to the point where I have to even squash it, because I feel people's belief systems. I can feel it, I'm an empath. Yeah. And so part of me is like, I can't say anything because I don't want them to think it's coming from a bad place, because it is coming from God's source. It's like that's all that it wants, is them to finally like push away all these things that are limiting them from being the absolute beautiful rays of light that they are.
Yeah, it's true. And I feel just by witnessing mass media right now, right, Nicole, like the dialogue, the banning that's happening with huge and high profile people. And I talked to David about it, my partner, and he's like, baby, it's a good thing, because people are seeing it. There's such a shift with consciousness. Like people are saying, well, why are they doing that? And why? So it's those little tears, it's those little cracks where it allows you to think. To bigger thoughts, and to question, and to formulate, and to wonder, and then to maybe make a discussion at a family party. And that's where it starts. That's where it starts, with someone that you saw. Like I find it fascinating. It's evolving quickly and rapidly, very fast. Do you feel that way too? Very fast.
Definitely feel that. And I guess I can be living proof of that in myself with my sharing with my family, like you just said, because, my family is still stuck in this very religious Mormon LDS way of thinking. But through my growth and my expansion, I've had the courage to be able to say things. I don't care if it blows up their whole, thinking system, because now is the time. Like, I don't care anymore what they project on me, because I went in with fear my whole life, not thinking I could share how I felt. But now knowing that I've been able to drop seeds subtly in the right way without being like too pushy, obviously, or like say certain words that could be triggering or whatever, because it is a slow, gradual way to get out of it when you're so stuck in it, like when you're so in it. So I've now gotten to the point where I never thought it would happen, but my family is just like thanking me for sharing perspectives of that can help them see differently. And I can see like little aha moments for them, which I never really thought could get to because of where I was, because I didn't had that fear root that I couldn't express myself and the truth that I was feeling with the people that mean the most to me. And I just needed to, get out of my own way and just say whatever it was I was feeling, and whatever comes back is just, it's going to be okay and be in the end, because I'm sharing my truth and sharing my heart. And
Yeah.
at that point, I mean, everything's going to be okay. And so just knowing that I had the receptiveness that they did was just like something you don't expect, because you're so stuck in the fear and you don't even want to try, because
Yeah.
it's just that unknown. But once you do try and you can like start making those cracks, like you were saying, it opens up for more communication, more conversations. My sister now has like reached out to me specifically on like little things that we don't talk about in the church, curious, like, what do you mean by this? What does that mean? And just little things like that, it's just, it's
It's a
everything,
start.
Yeah.
To start. And I have to say, she's such a beautiful person, Nicole. I can't even imagine anyone would ever think you were pushy. Like, you're so deliberate and intentional with your words. And that's why whatever is received and they hear it, they're putting it in their bank. They live on planet Earth. They see what's happening. Like, it's shifting.
Yeah, you can't deny what we're seeing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have
Yeah,
so much.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of
much
you
love.
ladies have so much light to shine. And all you want to do is just, be that person you're meant to be. And you come in with such, I don't know, it's just such a beautiful dance of just uniqueness. And like Nicole was literally my guardian angel when we broke down across the country.
She just flew in.
She just flew in, didn't even really, I mean, we know each other, but we didn't know each other in the physical, and it became a reality. And it's like, we would have never gotten there had we had truly wanted to have that connection that we're all seeking. That's why we're doing this portal. This is why it's happening, because we could be, our next door neighbor could be feeling the same way, and we just don't know it yet, because we're so scared to be who we are. And when we realize I can, and they're just reflections, and you're a reflection for them for things that they need to work on,
Absolutely. We're like you said, Nicole, we're the powerhouses in our little soul family that came here this time around.
Yeah.
We're the barrier breakers. We're the thinkers. We're the disruptors. That's our role. We came here saying we were going to be, and they came here saying they were going to be their role. And when push comes to shove and things do hit the fan, I get texts from family members with questions or things that they know that I would be interested in, because it's in there. It resonated within them, and they know, whether they really know it or not, they have their soul connected to it, right? Yeah. And so when whatever happens, the time is now. Dina and I just crack up. The time is now. No, it's now. No, it's now.
It's the now moment that now will be.
Right. We're like, but when that time does come, we will be the lighthouses. We will be the pillars. We will be the people that the ones that they come to with questions, or all of that.
And I do want to say too that when I kind of mentioned that I feel that it could come out negatively, that you can't really believe what you want to believe or do what you want to do, because we all do have that free choice ability. The point of the observer neutral seeing is that we don't need to be stuck in these types of programs, and that there is so much more of an expansive way out there. Whatever you choose to do, it doesn't need to be the same way that everyone else is doing it or thinking it. And if it can't resonate with you, that's okay, and there's another way for it. But just knowing that there is so much more to it, and we are so much more than this physical human body, and these frequencies and energies that we can tap into and play and see which ones make us feel certain ways. But you can only do that by going within or going into nature, or seeing these frequencies that are not the ones that we are usually around, because we've been so programmed to these lower vibrational things, from our screens to our, from everywhere we are going in, the lights in our house, like everything is creating these things. So we just need to be aware of the frequencies, aware of the energies, and where we're putting our thoughts and our intentions, because that really does create our reality and what we're seeing and what we're creating in front of us. And just knowing that it's just so simple. It's not this dense human body. It's light, and it's energy, and it's beautiful. It's love.
Yeah.
So that I just wanted to bring that point home. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bring it on
absolutely.
home.
Right at the end of the hour, or the end of the hour.
Right on the minute.
Right on the minute.
That's what it is.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm just grateful that we got to have this nice chat. This was one of my favorite ones. I felt like my most authentic self. I just threw myself out there with my own
Yeah.
personal experiences today.
That's
what it's
because it
about.
was really cute. Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So thank you guys for joining us. And Pamela, if you would like to, plug Spirit Calling in any way that you'd like before we wrap up, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone who's watching, conversations like this happen all the time on our spiritual community online. It's called spirit-calling.com. And we created this for people who are going through a spiritual awakening so that they don't have to feel alone, so that they have a community to feel supported. We have coursework that you can try. There's free courses, there's paid courses. There's a curated sound healing that Nicole creates. Creates it for the community every month. It's her talent being flying out and coming out to help you, every single one. And there's events, and it's a family. So if you're feeling called, there's a 7-day free trial. So come over and try it. What do you have to lose? Nothing.
Yeah. And she let me do something like this. Like this, how cool is that?
It's our portal.
It's our portal discussions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for making this happen, because it's been fun. It's really been fun.
Thank you.
And I love having conversations with like my soul sisters, my soul family. Like I really know you, and like, well, I've been lucky that I've got to meet you both in the physical, but that's what happens. It's like they become part of your reality.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
I actually miss you.
I know.
It's funny. Like I literally miss you. Like I saw your face and I was like, I miss her. Like I'm gonna get to see her, and you too, Nicole. Like I see you, and I'm just filled with love.
Oh my God, when you meet Nicole, it's like,
I know, I'm just gonna scoop her up and like carry her.
You want to scoop her up and like carry her. They thought, I think I said this before. My husband was buying a car, and Nicole came with me because I had to go pick something up. And they're like, is this your daughter? No, she's my BFF. Come on, my
I'm
best.
just a little one.
She's my BFF. Oh my God.
It's hilarious. I'm like, no, but
And I'm like, man, and Nicole's
Not
like,
the
I
deal.
get this all the time. I'm like, because I felt kind of bad. I'm like, how could you just say that?
No,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
forever like
beautiful.
15 years old.
That's nice though. That's sweet.
It's whatever.
Meanwhile, I feel like this giant, and now I've been having.
Yeah, Pamela's so tall. She is.
I'm tall.
She's like,
Yeah.
she's the Ayunaki.
But I've been having these out of body experiences. Like I'm shifting again, and so my energy body is expanding. But there's something new that's happening where I feel my soul. I'm having duality, so I feel both things happening at the same time. And I'm walking through a store, and I felt like a giant. I felt like it was like little people, and I can't explain it. And then so that's been happening more and more. So
That's so awesome.
yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
I know what you meant, because we mentioned on that last video about that feeling above your head or something. And I was trying to explain that, because I too will often, I can just be like sitting doing something, and all of a sudden I literally feel like I'm like up here, but it's like a feeling like that dissociation when your hearing goes out. I always use that, where you're just like, whoa, what the heck? You're just like, why am I not like, whoa, I'm like literally out of body connected to something. It's just like so interesting. It's getting so thin. The veil.
Yeah, it's a different dimension. And I was at dinner. I was just talking about this with the photographer. I was at dinner with David, and that walking through the crowd experience happened in the morning, I guess. That evening, we were at a beautiful restaurant and having a birthday dinner, and he got up to use the restroom. And I was just sitting there like admiring my man and thinking about how much I love him. And I literally saw it happen. I saw it with him. I saw this meat suit walking, and I saw his soul above his head. And I'm like, what is happening? But it was like a visual example of what I felt.
Wow.
Earlier in the morning. So the dimensions, the frequency, it's all shifting. It's
right.
It's cool.
I had to share this since we said that. So when I was at Salem, I was at a retreat. And I showed Nicole this, and I wasn't going to get my aura picture done, but everyone was getting it done. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this.
You had to.
I had to do it, but I don't know. Like I might have to take off. Can you see it?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Over the other side a little bit. There you go.
Is that good? Can you see
amazing.
it?
Yes,
Wow.
it's so incredible.
Wow.
There's like 5 lights over me, like, oh, so like spirit guides.
Yeah.
It's
My
huge.
heart
It's
chakra
so big.
is like lit up, And I like was sharing earlier that my heart chakra opened up for the first time this past year. And it was crazy. And the woman read it and she's like, you are like really empathic, like really. I'm like, I know. And then I'm
No,
like,
I am.
I'm going through this whole thing about like, wait a minute. I don't think I even know who I am.
I'm not really sure.
I gotta start over. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my
It was
God.
great. It was
It's
great.
so funny. It's
But
so
All
yeah,
to get
it
to
was
know
so
yourself.
fun. It's such a
Yeah.
fun thing. And it's fun to know that when you go through this process, like, and you do fun stuff like this, like it's validation too, because I had a connection with the angelic realm that I didn't know if I really was like, am I just feeling that or is that real? And so exciting to explore that. And
yeah.
it's a fun journey when you allow.
When
you know?
you just took the words out of my mouth. When you allow. When you
Mhm.
allow. So all your programs come up and you
Mhm.
might be triggered with fear, but you've got, like I tell, what do you have to lose? Go to the portal, 7 days for free. If
Yes.
your soul is calling you, go. What is holding you back? It's yourself, it's your fear. So what do you go? Like your job, and I said it on the channel message this month, you have for the next month, fear and love in front of your face. Just choose love for a month. See what happens.
Wow, that worked perfect for today.
Well,
Seriously.
yeah, it's exactly, you're right. Right.
It's funny how it all works out. And Nicole, you used that same thing. What do you have to lose? You said the exact same thing earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It's
So
fear.
You know,
Doesn't get
oneness.
tired of being afraid.
The oneness.
Tired?
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love you,
guys.
ladies.
I know.
Love you, ladies.
Yes, and I'm excited to do this again next month. Hopefully we'll get some more lovely soul spirit calling family on here,
Yes,
and that
sure.
more will come and join the portal with us.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exciting.
Very good.
Yay.
Great to see you guys.
Yes, it was good to
And
see you.
listen, on Wednesday is Candy Hausa. She's for reals Akashic Records. She's going to do a block release session.
Ooh.
If you can
Wow.
come with
Very
questions. Come like sit with intention and ask what you need before you come to the call, because
That's
shit's
amazing.
gonna go down. I did work with her, my whole life changed. It's
Thanks.
cool.
What an
She's an
opportunity. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
You're welcome. So
Definitely,
yeah,
we'll definitely
cool.
be checking that out.
Okay, all right.
All
Awesome.
right.
Guys. Good to
Have a
see you.
lovely day.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for
Happy
being
full
there.
moon.
Yes.
Yeah, happy full moon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.